Ukrainians committing genocide? I ask you.
What's that got to do with Israel?
Well, many wars going on.
Yeah.
Is Ukraine committing genocide?
No.
Right.
Is Russia committing genocide?
Russia is committing a war of hostile aggression, for sure. There are repercussions for Hamas for starting a war against Israel.
So do you think there are repercussions for an illegal occupation?
What's the illegal occupation?
Of Israel against the Palestinians.
Where?
That is an illegal occupation.
Where?
It is a determined illegal occupation.
Gaza?
Of course, Gaza and the West Bank.
Have you been to Gaza?
Yes, I have.
Is it occupied by the Israelis?
It's completely sealed off, as you know. That's
by
why
who?
they call it by the Israelis.
And who?
By the Israelis, by the US, and whoever else supports
and who else?
The Israelis. Isn't that enough?
No, tell me who else is allegedly sealing the Gaza. There's an illegal occupation of Gaza. Why did you say that?
Because there is.
Why? Well, who is
Israel
occupying
is an occupying state.
No.
It is internationally recognized.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
I want to move on.
That's your view. Hang on, that's your view, and I have to correct your view.
Our views
I have
differ.
to correct. No, it doesn't. The facts, our views might differ, but the facts are the facts, and I want to pick you up on something you just did.
I'm interviewing you.
I know, but
yes.
I think you're uninformed.
No.
So let me just.
Hardly.
So let me. You are uninformed
Oh,
because
really?
first of all,
yes.
You didn't say that Egypt is blockading Gaza. Secondly, you claim that Israel.
I'm talking about Israel here, and I want to move.
It's very convenient for you to mention Israel because you've clearly got an animus here. But let me come on to the second point. Let me come to the second point. Israel took every Jew from Gaza in 2005, handed it over to the Palestinians, who then voted in Hamas, and to the great detriment of the Palestinian people, they have been ruled by Hamas for the last 18 years. If you want to look to the source of the conflict,
be a peace agreement, settlements would pop up, and that's why we are where we are today.
No, it's not.
So let's try and move on. No, let's try and move on.
It's not at all why we are where we are.
Hang on. We're not achieving anything here, so let's try and move on.
No.
Let's try and move on.
No, it's very, because you just did it again. You just threw in another false fact. We are not where we are today because of settlements in the West Bank that are disputed. That's not why Hamas broke out of Gaza on the 7th of October and massacred people in their homes.
As we know,
Hamas got because of the West Bank, and you well know it. You well know that.
And
you well know that Hamas. You well know that Hamas did not commit the massacre of the 7th of October because of settlements. They did it by their own admission because they want to massacre every Jew they can get their hands on, and Hamas has said they will do it again and again. So don't get onto the distraction of settlements. That is a second-order priority. The first order.
It's easy to fob those off, isn't it?
It's easy for you to try to distract people about it. But I'm saying, don't distract them from the crimes of Hamas. Don't do that.
I'm not distracting.
Well, you are. You just said that's why they did it. You said they did it because of the settlements.
And those crimes by Hamas were repugnant.
I'm glad you said that finally.
Ever since this war on Gaza, because Israel is making people more and more increasingly militant. So what is happening at the moment?
Israel's making people more militant.
Is not working.
Do you think that Hamas is making people more militant or not?
Let's go back to the ICJ.
Do you think that Hamas is making people more militant or not?
Well, it's a catch-22.
Oh, I see.
And I mean, until this illegal occupation is broken, until the suffering of the Palestinians is acknowledged.
Do you think that Hamas are interested in a solution where there's any Jew in that region or not?
I'm asking you the questions, and I want to
I'd
move
love you
on
to answer that one.
No, we can answer it. Let's just move on.
Have a go then.
Okay. So
have a go. Do you think Hamas want a peaceful solution with the Jews?
I'm asking you the questions. We can discuss this afterwards.
Oh no, I'd love to do this one on air. Beside the Jews, yes or no?
They have recently said that they would be happy to live next to Jews, but they want a two-state solution. A two-state solution has been in the offing.
Hamas has not said they want a two-state solution. They carried out a massacre on October the 7th of as many people as they could, stole a lot of hostages who you still also haven't referred to. There's more than 100 Jewish hostages still in Gaza. That's a real kidnapping, and that's real occupation of somebody. And Hamas has said they do it again and again.
How do you feel when you see those children who've been shot in the back of the head? How do you feel when you see those children?
The Jewish children or the Palestinian children?
The Palestinian children.
I feel the same on each of them. I think it's all a tragedy.
Okay, good.
And I think it's all on Hamas.
I think it's all on Hamas.
They shouldn't have started a war.
Wow. Again, folks, Douglas, right on his game. Not being defensive, going in on the attack, honing in on where this journalist keeps stating, making comments in a factual presentation where Douglas is saying, what the hell are you talking about? That's not true. Let me enlighten you. And you see the smugness of this journalist, this female journalist, who just absolutely refuses. And when Douglas calls her out and says, I think I know more than you do, she goes, really? Really? And Douglas doesn't care. If and you're going to have a lot of leftists, a lot of feminists out there. He's mansplaining. He's mansplaining. Yeah, well, maybe he needs to mansplain because this woman doesn't have an understanding of anything. Now, she can have her own opinion, but I thought that when you're trying to be objective, the idea is to ask the question that a person has made, a statement that he's done. Can you defend them or back them up? Or why did you make that statement? What were you trying to convey to the audience? What was your message or meaning behind it? Those are the kind of questions that you ask. But then when you interject your own stuff, but this is the new way of debating, folks. You basically say something out there that somebody else made, and then you tell the person that you're interviewing to defend that statement. Or why did ABC say this? Well, I have no idea why ABC said that. Talk to ABC. Why did that person say this? I don't know. Why don't you ask him why he said it? Why are you asking me? You care to comment on it? Well, then you can make a comment. Say, you agree with what that person said. You didn't agree with what that person said. Or you can say no comment. You know what? I'd rather make my own comment and go forward. But Douglas, he knows how to, I don't want to, I was going to say duck and weave, but that's not really, because he's not ducking. He's moving around. They're trying to flail at him, trying to punch back at him. And he just sort of, dances around, make sure he doesn't get hit, take the bait, and then hones in on the specificities and the specifics and the facts. Now, you may not agree with Douglas. That's perfectly fine. You may not agree with him and his defense of Israel 1,000%. That's an okay position to have. Come from the other position. But the facts of the matter is that, Douglas has got his way of telling you what's going on. She's got her way. The question is going to be, how are people interpreting the statements? Are they factual or not? And it looks like Douglas certainly has the upper hand. So let's get back to the rest of the interview. If you think it was bombastic now, just wait till in the next couple of minutes, folks. You're not going to want to miss this. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, we'd love to earn your subscription. You know what to do. Let's get back to this interview between Douglas and this female journalist. We'll do that right now.
Read some of your comments about our move to, taking Israel to the ICJ, and you said that we did that in order to hide the problems at home.
In any country, you have first-order priorities, getting the water clean, getting the roads running, getting infrastructure working, getting healthcare working, getting education. Those first-order priorities, if a government fails at them, it does distraction techniques. I think the ICJ thing is a distraction technique. I don't think it's something which is of primary importance to the people of South Africa. I don't think it's a first-order priority for the voters. And I'm suspicious when governments pull these kinds of international tricks.
Don't you think somebody had to do it?
No, not at all. I mean, there's an awful lot of things going on in the world. I've covered an awful lot of conflicts. I don't think that at all that what's happening in Gaza is genocide. I think it's an unbelievable smear against Israel. I've covered that war, as I've covered many others.
Don't you think it's a self-inflicted smear against Israel?
No, I mean, I was in Ukraine last year. Are the Ukrainians committing genocide? I ask you.
What's that got to do with Israel?
Many wars going on.
Yeah.
Is Ukraine committing genocide?
No.
Right.
Is Russia committing genocide?
Russia is committing a war of hostile aggression, for sure. Although it doesn't seem to be attempting to eradicate the Ukrainian population as a whole, which is, of course, what genocide is.
Which is what Israel...
The allegation of genocide against Israel, why would Israel be committing genocide in Gaza?
Like, well, what would you describe it?
It's a war. It's which I've seen up close.
Okay.
So let me just explain that. If you start a war, which is what Hamas did on the 7th of October, if you start a war, there are repercussions. There are repercussions to Russia for starting a war against Ukraine. Russia's lost a lot of troops. There are repercussions for Hamas for starting a war against Israel.
But there are repercussions for an illegal occupation.
What's the illegal occupation?
Of Israel against the Palestinians.
Where?
That is an illegal occupation.
Where?
It is a determined illegal occupation.
Gaza?
Of course, Gaza and the West Bank.
Have you been to Gaza?
Yes, I have.
Is it occupied by,
No, that's
by
why
who?
they call it by the Israelis.
And who?
By the Israelis, by the US, and whoever else
And who
supports
else?
the Israelis. Isn't that enough?
No, tell me who else is allegedly sealing the Gaza.
I'm saying that Israel
What?
has completely encircled Gaza. Nothing goes in, nothing goes
Gaza
out, as
has.
you know.
Well, as you know, if you've been, Gaza also has a border with Egypt. Why do you not mention Egypt? Egypt has a stronger fence to fence in the people of Gaza
Okay,
than
so you
Israel
agree
does.
that Gaza has been fenced off?
Why do you say there's an illegal occupation of Gaza? Why did you say that?
Because there is.
Why? Well, who is
Israel
occupying
is an
it?
occupying state.
No.
It is
hang on.
internationally
Who is-
recognized.
No,
and
it's not.
occupying
It's
state.
not at
I
all.
want to move
that's
on.
your view. Hang on, that's your view, and I
Okay,
have to
again,
correct
our
your
view-
view.
our views
I have
differ.
to correct. No, it doesn't. The facts, our views might differ, but the facts are the facts, and I want to pick you up on something you just did.
I'm
You said-
interviewing you.
I know, but
Yes.
I think you're uninformed.
No.
So let me just.
hardly.
You are uninformed
Oh,
because
really?
first of all,
Yes.
you didn't say that Egypt is blockading Gaza. Secondly, you claim that Israel.
I'm
Hang on,
talking about
let me
Israel
finish
here,
the point.
and I want to
well,
move.
It's
I want
very
to move on
convenient
from
for
this.
you to mention Israel because you've clearly got an animus here. But you well know, in 2005. Israeli troops ripped Jewish families from their home in the Gaza.
That was
Hang on,
after
hang on,
Palestinians
hang on.
had been ripped from their homes in Gaza.
I mean, how far back do you want to go?
Okay,
You can do the
no,
Hebron massacre of 1924
no,
if you want.
absolutely.
But let me just let me
let's get to
finish.
what I want to
allow me to finish one point.
What I want to talk
allow
about
me
is
to finish
we're
a
talking
point.
about the action at the International Court of Justice.
No.
Okay.
But first of all,
and we're
before
talking
we got
about
onto that, you've got to
South
inform your
Africa's
viewers.
actions there.
Yes, but we've got to inform your viewers of the facts, and you just misled them. In 2005, Israeli troops ripped every Jewish family from their homes in Gaza and handed over all of Gaza, which was completely clear of Jews.
That was after two Nakbas, I think in 1948 and 1967, when Palestinians were ripped from their homes that were originally there.
That's your
I know, so let's
specific
agree,
interpretation of the history, and yours is
disagree.
a very no. But we can agree to disagree, but don't misinform your viewers. And you can
Likewise.
go back. Well, I'm not misinforming your viewers. I'm informing them because you're not. The point that I'm trying to make, which
Israel
you keep
moved away
on,
from Gaza, and Gaza has been sealed off
the
ever
point
since.
you keep on trying to distract everyone from is that Israel took every Jew from Gaza in 2005, handed it over to the Palestinians, who then voted in Hamas, and to the great detriment of the Palestinian people. They have been ruled by Hamas for the last 18 years. If you want to look to the source of the...
Very contentious. That's the kind of stuff that we like to see. Both people coming in with their game. Then it's up to you, the listener, the viewer, to decide who made the better arguments, who made the factual arguments. Did any of their statements seem to be off or on? How did it go with you? What are you going to do in terms of your own research, your own due diligence, and decide, where do you lie in terms of on whose side do you fall on? Do you fall on the journalist side, who obviously was in defense of Hamas and the Palestinian side, or do you fall on the side of Douglas Murray and the Israeli side? I mean, Douglas was basically, when he told her, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, really? I mean, he goes after him. He goes after him. And you know what? The other person could have said the exact same thing. But what Douglas was basically trying to point out was that, I mean, how far back? You want to keep going back and forth in history? So he's saying if you go to the last time in 2005, when the Israelis pulled the Israeli settlers out of their homes, literally, and forced them to leave Gaza and handed over Gaza to the Palestinians and Hamas, all of it. What happened? What happened? 2005, folks. We're coming up almost on 20 years. Billions of dollars given to that. Billions of dollars siphoned off by the Hamas leaders, who are now living high on the hog in penthouses and palaces and multi-million-dollar, estates under the Qatari government. Having the Qatari government, gave them safe and secure havens, and then having their minions, the Hamas terrorist soldiers, fighting their battles, building the tunnels, shooting the rockets off at Israel. That's basically what's going on. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. Hope you enjoyed this clip of Douglas Murray. Check out our other video links here and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.